Chapter 19 of Gypsy Rose's book, My Time to Stand. So she starts off this chapter talking about how her life had began from the docuseries or documentary that HBO had, Mommy, Unalive, and Dearest. She stated that she was starting to get all this public attention and that it felt nice. She loves the attention. That this started before she received her plea deal. Yeah. The talk of having a documentary started before her plea deal. And then the recording started after she received her plea deal. And that she loved to hear her other family members' perspective on what happened in the situation and how surprised they were of everything that had happened. But I thought you had an uncle who knew the entire time that your mother was using you. So does he not talk to any of the family members? And that she appreciated all the support that she received, and that she found it shocking of all the positivity that she had got from this documentary. And she brings up the haters too. She goes in and tells us that she started to receive letters from people from around the world, and how they loved the documentary and how they were there to support her. And also she stated that she could be a beacon to victims who may be suffering from the same thing, that she loved to be that type of role model for them. She brings up that she had started talking to Ken. His letter really spoke volumes to her. I guess that the other 200 and some men didn't speak such volumes. And that she loved that he came from a large family with a lot of siblings, and how it was easy to talk to him. She finally meets Ken, and her impression is, dang, he's fine. I'm sorry. He passionately kisses her, and it's the best kiss that she's ever had in her life. And the guard starts to rush towards her, because how dare the guard keep her in line. Here she is bringing up meds again, and she said that love was now the most powerful rug of choice for her. It was her new rug. She asked him over the phone, will you be my husband one day? And this happened after a year of them talking and being friends. So that October, Ken comes to visit her, and she's like, oh, here it is. He's going to propose to me. He gives her this long speech, and then he says, will you marry me? And of course, she's saying yes, because she's just obsessed with him and everything. He is the one for her. And because of prison rules, he couldn't give her a ring. So she buys one off the black market in prison from an inmate who was selling her wedding band, but it gets confiscated. The act comes out, and now everybody knows everything about her, and people are looking into her life and looking into her relationships, and a family member sold a story to, I guess, tabloids or whomever that she was with Ken. And this bothered Ken because he's a very private person, which you can kind of tell now, but also kind of not, because he's participated in a show with her. Nick's not happy with this, so he writes her and tells her that she is committing adultery, and because he considered them to be married. And she said, what relationship? I mean, the one where you raped me? She writes Nick back and tells him that she's done with him and she's over it. She didn't care. She felt that their relationship was like adults with childlike minds, and that she felt sorry for him because he didn't have much experience, and that's it, really. And that the only reason why she testified for him in the first place was because she felt like it was a due diligence, not because she cared about him. She goes back to Ken and says that she felt that the reason why he broke up with her was because of the act and the attention that he was getting, but she later finds out that the main reason was because Ken's family told him it wasn't the right time for him to be in a relationship with her, that they felt that she should be able to live her life and kind of, I guess, learn a little bit before she jumps into a marriage, especially one in prison, because what marriage is really going to work if you do it while you're incarcerated? You don't know that person when you get out. She tells us again about how she loses her first love in prison, surrounded by all these women. It really sounds like she has such a hostility for all these women that she was imprisoned with. And Gypsy, this is your first love? Like, what happened to Dan? What happened to Nick? Her first love, though. So she brings up her mother and says that this should have been a time a mother and daughter would be together. And then she says that she thought about the rugs again, and then the smock that she was gonna hang herself with. And then she cuts her hair super short and then becomes friends with a certain inmate. She brings up old Ryan and says that he was charming in a deep southern accent, but she calls him a rebound. She says that they talk about their favorite football teams. He is, of course, the Saints, and then hers was the Kansas City Chiefs. Gypsy, was it really your favorite football team, or was it just because Taylor Swift is dating one of the players? What? Poser. She brings up how she loves Ryan's sense of humor, and how he is the first person that she could really bring up her past life and her insecurities and everything bad that had happened to her. What about Ken? Were you just gonna marry him without telling him these things? And what about Nick? Like, why did he commit the act, Gypsy? And that her and Ryan argued like any other normal couple, and like he would throw stuff at her and she would throw stuff at him, and they would just hurt each other for really no reason, just to hurt each other. And that they would spend hours every day talking on the phone, and this is what fast-paced them to being married. And then she says that, you know, they're going to get married, but she was thinking about Ken, and that her parents had told her not to do it, that they advised her to not marry Ryan, but they were okay with her marrying Ken. So, I mean, her getting married in prison, they didn't have a problem with one person, but they had a problem with the other one. So in 2022, she doesn't want to be married anymore, and she writes her friends and tells them that she doesn't want to be married and that she's thinking about getting an annulment because the family that she wanted before, that she felt like she just had to have because she was in her 30s, now she is kind of blaming Ryan and saying that he would boss her around and talk to her just like Nick and just like her mother. And she's upset that her friends told her that she should get out of the marriage. She was hoping that they would tell her that this is just how every marriage is and that's just how it is. And that's the end of that chapter. I'm just really upset because it seems to still be everyone else's fault. She's just stringing all these men along, and when she's just unhappy with them, it's okay to discard them like trash. And then she'll talk pure shit about them and blame them for everything. Because with Ryan, he was just talking to her like her mother would or like Nick would, and he was bossy and everything else, and he was trying to control her life. But that's it for this one.